thank you for just checking my heart like that and just.
You can't limit yourself. I mean, you can limit yourself if
Mhm.
that's what you want to do, but you're not gonna go as far as God can take you
Mm.
if you don't trust in what He's called you to do.
Amen. That's good. Because of course everybody's always like, "Oh, I'm different, and I'm doing something new for the game." No, you're not. You're really not. I personally don't think you're doing anything different. Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah.
Just
What's
raised in
up?
the building.
It's goody.
Man, so good to have you on the show, bro. Looking
Hey,
forward
I
to it, man.
appreciate the nod. I appreciate the nod.
Yeah, absolutely. We were obviously talking off air as we were setting up, and um, I was telling you about the whole situation with my son, and I'm like, you know what? That's so much, bro. And I don't know. You tell me. So obviously, as a father as well, there'll be times where it's like, man, I want to go ahead and let this thing go, but like it is on my mind. Do you ever feel
I
that?
feel you. I feel you. Like we were talking offline. I just had that conversation with my 10 and 11-year old. I was just like, hey man, we don't ask y'all to do much here. Me and my wife, we don't ask
Yeah,
y'all to do a whole lot. Just
yeah,
do your homework and do these few little things around the house. That's
yep.
it. Then you could tablet, you could switch it out, you could watch TV, you could do whatever you want to. But we just need y'all to do these few little things.
That's
Make sure
it.
they're good. And then you can do whatever you want to do. It's just like we shouldn't have to tell you this every day. It's the same thing every day. Like,
Yep.
come on now.
Yep.
So
No,
yeah.
that's it, man. That's it. That's it. And,
You
and
gotta
I,
go into daddy mode. It just be like, man, like you gotta do it.
and so it's always interesting, because everybody wears multiple, hats and all that, right? So for you as an artist, now I'm assuming you've done live shows, right?
Yeah.
So when you do live shows, have you ever gotten a chance to? Because it's not always the case. So I do want to ask this, but have you ever gotten the chance where your family is able to be a part of it, or that they're able to come with you anywhere?
For the most part, yeah, but they were like really, really young though.
Okay. Okay.
Like I haven't because of COVID and just different life situations,
Mm-hmm.
I haven't really performed anywhere since like 2021.
Got it. Okay.
So I
Okay.
just kind of chilled. I kind of chilled out from performance wise, just trying to just take care of some personal things on the side. And it's just like
Yeah.
I didn't feel right trying to accept things, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, or accept the shows and stuff like that while personal stuff wasn't right. So it's just like, all right, let me figure this out first, and then once we get all that settled, we'll start dabbling in shows and stuff like that. So I kind of took a back seat to that. So when it comes to like shows and stuff like that, they probably don't even remember it. They was
Mm.
probably like maybe 4, 5, 6. They probably don't remember it. But
Yeah.
yeah, I have been able to have them. And the good thing about my wife and just kind of our partnership is if she's doing something
Yeah.
and we're here with the kids, I'm on daddy duty.
Right.
I'm making sure she good. I'm making sure they good
Right. Right.
where they supposed to be. And case in point, vice versa. If I'm somewhere where I'm doing something, she on mommy duty. She
Mm-hmm.
making sure they good, making sure they where they supposed to be, making sure I'm straight. And so it kind of the way we make sure each other is taken care of in those aspects and in those avenues has always been a blessing.
That's good, bro. That's good. Man, I was gonna go somewhere with it, but like what you did and where you went with it, so much better. So thank you for just checking my heart like that and just going, you know what?
Hey, it wasn't always like that though. I will say it took time. It took time because
Yeah.
I got married before I started doing music, so it was just like that was never.
Ah,
It's
okay.
not like she met me when I was already doing music or already rapping. Like
Yeah.
when we met, I wasn't even rap wasn't even a thought in my mind. So
Wow.
it's just like she got to see the evolution from not doing it and just singing in churches to
Yep.
like actually on stage performing in front of large crowds and stuff like
Oh, that's dope. Okay, well, shoot, let's go ahead and go into the origin story, bro. Give us your origin story, man.
that.
That sounds like where we need to go right now.
So I grew up in the church all my life. My mother was the type of mother that was just like, if you're gonna be here, you're gonna do something.
That's right.
So you're not just
That's
gonna
right.
be here sitting in the pews. You're gonna do something. So I always loved singing. I always loved music. So immediately I went to the choir. I have an older sister. She's like 8 years older than me. She went to ushering. And
Oh.
my cousin, who is close in age with my sister, she went to ushering too. And eventually, as I got older, I kind of stepped down from the choir and went and did other uh, avenues of ministry. Got
Mhm.
into anything they would pretty much let me do: tape ministry, media ministry, puppet ministry,
Wait,
miming,
wait,
all
did you
different
say
type of
puppet?
stuff.
Did you say puppet
Yes,
ministry?
yes,
Bro,
yes,
oh, okay, listen, listen,
yes.
listen. Okay, listen. I'm I'm excited. Here's why I'm excited. Here's why I'm excited. So so uh summer 2000, I first started going to church. Long story short,
Mm,
within like maybe a year or so, right? I was kind of like you. I was just kind of like jumping in to different, avenues of the church or whatever, right? I'm just getting swarmed by different people who want to pour into me, right? So it's cool. But
mm,
when you said puppet ministry, that's like I don't ever hear anybody talk about that. The reason why I got all excited about it is because there was this lady, her name was Pat. She ran it. She ran it like a freaking military, bro. And here's what I mean. Cause like when I got in, they're like, oh yeah, because there was like this big puppet show that was about to come, and like everybody in the church was
uh,
talking about it. It's like 300, 400 people, like just all riled up about it. I'm like, okay, like I'm not thinking down about it because I love the Muppets, right? So I'm like, yeah, okay, cool.
right.
Well, so they're like, hey, do you want to be a part of it? I'm like, sure, why not? You all got me and everything else. And so, but they're like, then they were telling me that, okay, cool. It's probably going to take you a little bit before you get a puppet. And I'm like, well, what am I going to be doing at practice? Bro, so she had everybody get the hand position where you had to do it right. If you couldn't do it with your hand correctly, you didn't get a puppet. So you had to do at least 2 weeks or more of training doing everything like this, and you got to bounce your arm around, bro. You doing this the whole
That's
time,
hilarious.
bro. But the thing is, though, the freaking shows were such a hit that a lot of times there's actually more adults that came than just the kids. Like some people actually used it as like date night stuff, just like as a little show,
Oh
whatever, bro.
wow,
Oh, it
that's
was
dope.
epic. So sorry, I got so
That's dope.
excited when you said
No,
something about
no, no.
puppet.
I feel that. They didn't do that for us. They just kind of was just like, here, we have an idea. How about y'all do this? So I was just like, all right, we'll do it. So
Yeah.
we did stuff like that. So like I said, anything that let me do, I was doing. So when I got old enough,
Yeah.
I ended up switching churches, and I went to this newer church. Shout out to Refuge Nation. Um,
Yeah.
they were just starting up or whatever, and I ended up meeting this guy. His name is Kelly. Shout out to Kelly. That's my brother.
I love that.
Um, and he was actually rapping on the secular side at the time. I didn't know it, but at the time I was really big in the CHH. So this is like around the time Pro and Show Baraka was still on Reach. So
Yeah.
matter of
Yeah.
fact, this was around the time they had just signed Andy. So I ended up
Okay.
the Lord laid it on my heart to invite him out to a concert. So I invited him out to a concert. It just so happened to be an Unashamed tour.
Oh wow.
And
Yeah.
he ended up having a conversation with Andy, and he just felt God tugging on his heart to like he knew he was growing in his faith, and he just felt conflicted in what he was rapping about and the fact that he was
Mm,
growing in his faith.
yeah.
And so he had a conversation. I remember him having a conversation with Andy, and through that conversation, it kind of, I guess, impacted him or planted the seed, and
Hmm.
God just gave that increase, and he was just like, "Yo, I'm gonna put down the secular rap for a second, and let's do like a mixtape thing for our church or whatever." And so I was just like, "All right." It was funny because I had a stint at rapping before. I'd rapped one verse for a homie at my old church
Hmm.
because he had me singing some hooks, and then he was just like, "I got this open spot on this last song. It's like a remix.
Yeah.
If you want it, you can have it." I was like, "Bet, let me get it. I want to rap." And he
Yeah.
was just like, "All right." Horrible verse. So I was just like, "Yeah, rap is not for me." Right? I was like, "Rap is not for me.
Yeah.
Not at
Yeah.
all. Not at all." So that was like years prior. So then when this opportunity came back around, I was like, "I'm gonna give rapping another stab." So I went at it, and we put together like a mixtape. It was four of us. We kind of worked together and put together a mixtape for our church. And through the first event, when the mixtape dropped,
Hmm.
and it was mad people that weren't uh, attendees of the church that actually came out. And we shut the place down, and it was
Wow.
history from that point. And
That's dope.
then yeah, that's just kind of how I got into it.
Yeah. Okay. So did you?
And that
So
was like 2012 when that
okay, so
happened.
you like never rapped at all, and then decided, yo, I want to go ahead and do this thing, or like you kind of would just like mess around in your head, but just didn't want to actually put it together.
So so for me, I was always a fan of poetry. So
Okay,
poetry
understood.
was always something like I hated English growing up as a kid, but I always
Yeah,
loved poetry. Anytime we got to the poetry section, I was locked in. And
bro,
so it was just
same,
it
same.
was just
Shakespeare,
like
bro.
sis,
When we hit that
oh
Shakespeare
man,
section,
Shakespeare, that's a wrap.
yes, sir.
Sonnets, haikus, what we talking about?
Yes,
so
sir.
it's
Yes.
like, so it was like every time we got to that section, I was locked in. So it was like
Yeah.
my earliest memories are probably like when I was 8, so that's probably like third grade of just like using poetry as a way of escape or just a way of like expressing my emotions, whether it was like a high or whether it was like a low.
Yeah.
It was a lot of lows when I was a child, just because I didn't know how to express my emotions. So it was just a
Yeah.
lot of, I didn't feel like I could talk to people. So it was like, let me just write it. And so I would just write a whole bunch of, I never shared them, but I would just write. And then I remember getting older and just showing people the different poetry that I wrote throughout the years, and I'm talking about like pages of poetry, and they'd be like,
Mm.
"Yo, this one is dope," and I'd be like, "Cool," and they'd be like, well, "When you gonna perform it?" And I'd be like, "All right, give it back. I didn't show it to you for all
That's
that. I was just showing
yeah.
it to
Hey, settle down. Settle down now. Settle.
you, one step at a time. One step at a time. We not
Right. Right.
performance. No, 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 no. You're just supposed to read it. You're supposed to give it back."
Right. Right.
But we're not talking about performance. So yeah, I just because I'm an introvert at heart, so it's just like a lot of extroverted things. And at the time, poetry, like I said, was a way of escape for me to
Yeah.
just share my emotions and just deal with that. So it's just like you want me to share this in front of people? Nah. It took enough for me to write it. Like it took enough for me to write it. I'm not about to share. No.
Uh, that's funny. That's funny. We got Q Flow says the poetic puppet prophets.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay. So they're like, yo, performance, and now, okay. So even though you were in choir and stuff, it's not like you were afraid of being in front of people, right? It was just more so you didn't want to like share the, I guess, more of a transparent moment.
No, I was afraid of being in front of people.
Okay, understood. So then how'd you do it with the choir then? Because like,
so with the choir, so first of all, my mother was the choir director, so that
oh, you didn't have a choice.
you was gonna get right,
You
right.
okay, okay,
I didn't have no
okay.
choice, but at the same time, it was just like I had friends in the choir with me, so it was just like
Yeah,
me and my friends, we'd just be playing around, and we'd still be singing because I still enjoy singing, but it's just like as long as I had them with me, I
right.
was good.
Oh,
But
okay.
if I had to go up there by myself and
Ah,
solos and all that, nah, 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 nah.
that makes
We're
sense.
not doing that. We
Right.
not doing that. So
Yeah, yeah,
it's just
yeah.
like as long as I had my friends and stuff like that, I was good. But if I had to go up there by myself and it was just like, yeah, okay, this is the music cue,
Yeah.
and we're waiting for you. It's just like nah, nah, nah,
Got
nah.
you.
I can't do that. So it was just like going through that, and even when like I said, when I first started with rap and stuff like that,
Yeah.
it was I was in a group. Like we put together the little mixtape for our church or whatever, and it was four of us rapping
Mm.
on the records. So it was just like I was still on stage with a group of people, so it kind of almost came natural in a sense, but it
Right.
was just like I could kind of like zone out as long as I could like feel the 808 in my feet and in my
Yep.
chest. You know what I mean? I could just like zone out and just focus on the lyrics and stuff like that. So it was just like it was an interesting experience from somebody who never wanted to be in front of people speaking. So
Yeah, and that's crazy how it's always fun to share those kind of stories because of the fact that it's like it's not like you got into it and was like, yeah, I'm gonna be the next KB or the next like whatever,
right,
right? Like you didn't jump into it with the intentions of I'm trying to be the hottest thing. I'm gonna bring something that's gonna revolutionize the CHH market and stuff. And I think what is really cool about hearing that kind of perspective, because it's like it's one of those moments where you just kind of look and go, okay, clearly it's a God thing. And the reason why I say clearly is because to have the, I guess, fear, you can say the fear, but but wanting that safety blanket of being with other people and being a part of stuff or whatever, to where you are now, right, where you're putting out music and you're being more upfront, rather it's performing with people or not. I appreciate that because it almost kind of keeps you in that mentality of like, no, I'm only doing this because of God. Like there's no other strength that I can kind of pull from. So what would you say then, to somebody who maybe they have a gift, they have a talent, they'd like to share it too, but maybe they feel inadequate in a way where it feels like if I don't have somebody with me, because I got some cats where like they're like, yo, if I don't really do a show where I don't at least have you as a DJ or have a drummer or whatever, like I'm not doing it. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. I thought you said that you wanted to make sure that you still shared your music anyways, or got a chance to, speak to people. So what would you kind of encourage somebody who feels like I need somebody, and if I don't have nobody, I can't do it at all.
I would just encourage them to that you're never alone. You know what I mean?
Mm,
God is always with you. You know what I mean? It says in his word that he never leaves nor forsakes us. And
yes.
so no matter who's with you on stage, he's always with you wherever you go. So it's just it just kind of meditate on that and focus on that because um at the end of the day, you can't limit yourself. I mean, you can limit yourself if
Mm-hmm.
that's what you want to do, but you're not gonna go as far as God can take you if
Mm.
you don't trust in what He's called you to do.
Amen. That's good. Yeah, that's good. And I like that you actually backstepped and said that. Yeah, you could limit yourself, but you're not gonna go as far, right? Like,
Right.
I could be wrong, but I feel like sometimes um, we do a really good job about putting limiters on God, and God is doing more to take them off of us. Rather
Right.
the limit might be, I can only do. Uh, Listen, not to say that the pandemic was obviously great, for what it was, but at the same time, when everything got stripped away as far as like time, right, commitment, everything, people started figuring out how much they actually did spend on things or with people or whatever that they really didn't need to. And I'm not saying by any means, anybody who's listening, I'm not saying that God caused that to happen, but God can work all things right to good for all those who love Him. And so, stripping all those different things away, we started to realize, oh, I felt like I could only get close to God if I was in a building with, lights and screens and all this, that, and the other. And then I realized, oh no, like I can actually really get some really dope time in just one on one. And, even the awkwardness, some people who've never been one on one with God, so I think that's a great word for sure. So for you, going into liking to sing, right, being uncomfortable at first performing by yourself, kind of feeling that safety blanket. So about what time frame, where in this walk did you go from I guess kind of like this uncertainty of music and wanting to share your gifts and all that, to where you're like, no, I'm gonna own this and I'm gonna do it? Because bro, like when you popped up, at least on our social media feed, when you popped up, I was like, yo, this dude's been crushing it. Like he's like your sound and the way that you go about things or whatever is truly different. So where did this come from? Like what kind of transpired to make that happen for you?
it it's funny, man, because like I said, being in that group, um, it would be times where I remember the first it I'm gonna share two stories. I remember
Yeah.
the first recording session we ever did together, and it was the first single that we recorded for the mixtape. I went into the studio. This is where I got to meet everybody that was eventually going to be a part of the squad or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember our manager, who was managing at the time, my homie Kelly. Uh, he was just like, "Man, I don't know, I don't know if he got it." And
Mm.
it was just funny to hear him say that, and then to see the growth. Because I was shaky
Mm.
when I was first in there, but I was nervous. There was a lot of people around. I was just like, I don't
Yeah.
know what I'm doing, but I'm gonna deliver it how I deliver it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it was just like seeing him change from I don't think he got it to like, man, y'all killing it.
Yeah.
And just seeing other people come up to my wife at shows like, yo, that's your husband? Like, yo, he got it.
Woo.
And hearing that from her, hearing their compliments
Yes.
through my wife, it was just like, all right, they said that, but they only said that because you my wife type situation. Like we just kind
Ah.
of
Okay.
downplay. It's just like, all right,
So you weren't actually
all
taking that
right.
as like facts and truth. Like you were just like, ah.
Nah. I'm just like, all right, we just do it. This, I'm taking it all in. This the team. You know what I mean? This the
Gotcha.
team. We gonna ride this out. We gonna
Hmm.
keep going. And then I want to say life hit us hard in like 2017, 2018,
Mm-hmm.
and like each and every member of the team just got hit hard with life, like evictions, losing jobs, and just a bunch of different things were transpiring. Um, just in our life that just kind of shook us all to the core. And it was just like, yo, we can't really, it's not feasible for us to continue to try to make music at this point, just
Yeah.
based on everything else that's going on. Like, we got to figure out this personal stuff first. And
Yeah.
so it just got to a point in like I want to say 2018, where it was just like, it was like, man, I don't even know if I'm gonna do this anymore. Because at the time,
Wow.
we were recording at my homeboy's crib because
Mm-hmm.
he had a tabletop set up. And I didn't have a tabletop set up. I didn't have money to go pay to go to a studio or nothing like that.
Mm.
So I was just using little means of people who did have studios that I knew, and different people that I knew were actually into music and stuff like that to try to
Mm-hmm.
get stuff recorded and get songs and stuff like that done. And it was just like, man, you know what? I don't I don't know if I can keep doing this and like put my family to the back burner to try to pursue a dream. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's just like what type of man would I be? You know what I
Wow.
mean? To put my family to the side to try to pursue a rap career. And it's just like I was at a point where it's just like I don't see any fruit from this labor. It's just like
Mm.
I'm laboring, I'm going in, I'm doing this stuff, and it's just like, bro, I don't have to keep doing this. Like I'm stressing myself out trying to keep pursuing this and keep doing it. And
Wow.
then I ended up linking with Ruslan and his Patreon,
Oh, dope.
and just seeing a whole bunch of community of independent artists that I'd
Mm-hmm.
never heard of.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like 350, like Alcott,
Mm.
like
Yeah.
um Weezy the Satellite Kid, Conscious,
Yeah.
and it was a whole bunch of different Bartholomew Jones, Philip Joubert, like a whole bunch of different artists from different spectrums of art in different walks of life, and
Right.
just so many different things. And it was just like, bruh, like first of all, I didn't even know all y'all was out here like that. Second of all, y'all music is dope,
Mm.
but I'm not tapped into anything to even know about any of y'all,
Yeah.
let alone to be tapped into like a community or anything like that. So
Yeah.
just tapping in with Ruslan and just kind of allowing him to critique my art to the point where it got better,
Mm.
and then just being able to hone in on different things, and finding my own sound and being exposed to different sounds like Bartholomew Jones and Philip Joubert, who were not doing youth group type music, like not jump for Jesus, hype, get hype, turn up, we lit for Christ type situation, but just like
Yeah.
more soulful, neo soulish type vibes about life
Yeah. Yeah.
with faith involved in it, like faith and life kind of meshing in one. And it's just like, yo, this is beautiful. Like, what, I
Yeah.
need more of this. Like, I didn't even know this
Right.
existed, and now I'm being exposed to this, and this is something that I would actually enjoy doing, because that was another conflict for me. Because it was just like, I don't want to be a youth group rapper. Like,
Yeah.
that's not something that I see myself doing. Like, it's easy to do that, but
Right.
it's just like that wouldn't be something that would ever leave me fulfilled. Like, I would be irritated doing that instead of actually doing that out of the joy or the love
Yeah.
for music or for God. And it's just like, man, to see that and be exposed to that, it just opened my eyes to just different possibilities. And just going forward from that, Conscience was able to help me get a tabletop set up for a very minimal price.
Yeah.
I don't even think I spent like I don't even think I spent over $400 or $500 for it,
Mm.
and was able to get everything I needed to be able to record from my crib. Um, and was able to link with a community of different producers, and
Yeah.
was able to just be in a more communicative and a community based artist pool where it's just like we are all pulling from each other,
Right.
and just seeing different people just grind and work at the art and develop so quickly, like bats or like 350, and just seeing them come up from never really doing music to now they're like the top they're like
Yeah.
the top indie artists in the genre. And it's just like, man, like I remember when y'all first was putting out y'all like original stuff, and it's just like, man, this is crazy, like to see
Yeah.
y'all successful. It warms my heart to see it, and it encouraged me seeing them grow and seeing them put in the work to get better.
Yeah.
And it was just like just seeing all that just kind of, like I said, just encouraged me and motivated me to just keep going in my own walk and keep pushing the envelope for my own self.
Yeah.
And it just like every little step that, because like I said, it was at a point where I had prayed and asked God. I was just like, yo, if this ain't for me to do, let me know, because I'm
Right.
not gonna keep stressing about it. Like I was ready to walk away from it, and it was just like every little step from that point
Yeah.
was just like God ordained, from getting producers, from getting engineers, from getting the tabletop set up, from uh changing my name to be more marketable, the whole bunch of different things. Just it was just a step by step process that
Yeah.
was getting features and all different types of things like that. But it was just like every step was just God making a way.
Yeah. No, that's good, man. That's good. I guess speaking of names, Kizzy talked about you used to go as J Rock.
Yeah, that's my boy Kizzy. Shout out Kizzy.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to go by J Rock. It started as a basketball name, nickname,
Yeah.
and then you know, what's a rap name without an acronym? So so when we started the group, it was just like, all right, well, I'm gonna go with J Rock. This is before at the time I wasn't listening to no secular music, so I didn't know about TDE. I didn't know about J
Right.
Rock and Kendrick and all them.
Right.
So I was
Right.
just like, I'm gonna do J Rock, but I'm gonna spell it as an acronym and be like just raised on Christ.
Okay.
And I was like, yeah. Only problem with that, it
Yeah.
was like 1,000. Yeah, it was like 1,000. Like when we actually started looking into, because at the time we was just on SoundCloud.
Yes. There was.
So it
Yes.
was just like when
Yeah.
we started actually looking to getting like music on Spotify, Apple Music, and stuff like this. This was pre-DistroKid, so we didn't even know DistroKid wasn't even a thing at this time.
Right.
But
Right.
just looking at like Google Play and stuff like that, it's like thousands of J Rocks, and it's just like they all spelled differently. They all, some got hyphens, some got acronyms, some
Yeah.
just all one word, and it's just like, bruh, I'll type my name in, you never find me
Yeah.
unless you put my name in specifically spelled exactly with the song name. That's
Right.
the only way that's coming
Right.
up, and
Right.
even still, I might be like number 3 or 4. So
Yeah.
it's just like, yeah, nah, this ain't gonna work if I'm gonna keep going. So I remember having a convo with Ruslan and my homeboy Kelly,
Yeah.
and just chopping it up, and it was just like, man, how can I make this? What can I change my name to that'll still be me, but it's
Yeah.
not my actual name, because my actual name's not really artist. Like it's not an artist type of. You hear my name, you think business professional. You don't think artist. Like
Mm.
he does music. He's like, no, he does taxes. That's what he does. He does taxes. So,
He does
so I'm
taxes.
like, so, so I'm like, all right,
This is State
so
Farm. This is Jake from State Farm.
right, right. Facts. You're in good hands. Like, dude, what? This is not. He's not about to come up here and rap. But so I was just like, man, just having a conversation. I don't even remember how we got to that point with me and Ruslan, but
Yeah.
we ended up having a conversation about it, and we ended up landing on JusRzd, and then we were trying to figure out how to spell it. And I was just like, well, something simple that can be easily rememberable. So I was just like, well, JusRsd. I was like, that's cool, but I feel like that's too many. I was like, there's too many S's. I was like,
Yeah.
I don't feel like that hit the same. And I was like, what about JusRzd? And he was like, well, I mean, that could work too. So then I asked a few of the homies. I think Kizzy was probably one of them. I asked too. I was like, yo, what you think about this?
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, that works. He said, oh, all right. So I ended up going with I ended up going with Just Raise.
That's funny. That's funny. Because he said Justin Martinez, attorney at law.
Thanks. Thanks.
Q said I made J Rock profile back then for business. That's but so it's funny, yeah, with Just Ray. So I every time I have ever seen your name or have said it, especially when I say it, I always say it like this only because it reminds me of it. But every time I see it, I go, Just Raise? Like Just Blaze? Like I just every time I see your name, that's I mean,
You know
even
what's funny? That was one of my biggest drawbacks. I was like, just Raise, but then you got Just Blaze.
Just
But then I
Raise?
thought about it. I was like, man, this generation ain't gonna know nothing about Just Blaze.
That's
Even
true.
though that's
Hey,
one of my favorite producers. That's
yeah,
one
yeah,
of my
yeah.
favorite producers.
Oh, for sure.
So they're
For
just
sure.
like, they ain't gonna know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then come Easter time, oh Jesus, just raise from the just oh man, that's just how I say it in my head, bro. That's how I say it in my head.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, nah, man. So that's cool, bro. Like, so I mean, there's you said a lot in your story, and I want to kind of think back a little bit. So you hit on a couple different points that I wanted to try to bring up, and one of which is I want to make sure I'm remembering. Oh, when you were kind of deflecting the praise that back to the team or trying to kind of put it on somebody else or whatever, was that kind of like was that an intentional? I'm trying to stay humble, or was that not really understanding your own actual value and talent?
I I probably say 75% of not understanding my own value and talent, and
Okay,
probably 25% of me like trying to stay humble.
got you.
Um, because it's just like I didn't know enough about myself to really be prideful.
Wow,
It's
wow,
just like
bro,
I know I can rap well. That's about it. Like, man, it's the team. Like, yeah, we killing it. So it's
bro.
like
Okay, hang on. You said
it's
something right there. I did not know enough about myself to what'd you say?
to be prideful.
To be prideful, bro. I don't know why that's like a whoa moment, but I feel like I have to like stop on that just real quick because it's to be prideful. I don't know. So being oh, that was a sound that I don't know if you heard it, but I heard it.
No, I didn't hear
Okay, okay.
it.
Sorry, I got there's some Twitch alert stuff that updated, and so I'm like, yo, something just came through my ears. Anyways, um, so to be prideful. So okay, so on one end, we need to be self-aware enough so that we're not prideful.
Right.
However, you saying it that way, where you have to be self-aware enough to even be prideful too. I never thought of it that way, where it, to the only way somebody can look in the mirror and go, "Ooh, yeah, look at me, like I'm fresh" or whatever, and all that. Like you have to be aware enough of yourself, because somebody who maybe struggles with some kind of image of some sort, they try not to look at the mirror that often, right? They're not trying to
Right.
hear their own voice. They're not trying to sit in their own thoughts, because it's like, I
Right.
don't, I can't. If I could get out of my own skin, I would, right?
Right.
Um, so I never even thought of it that way, where you would really have to invest in yourself and care about yourself enough, but obviously in a wrong way, where you do it so much to the point that now you're
Right.
the you're the shining star, right? You're the superhero, of
Right.
your own story, so to speak, and stuff. So I think that's really dope to even think of it that way. So some of it was deflecting, and other parts just not really noticing it too. So when did you start accepting the praise from others?
Probably once I started getting into the community with Rusan's Patreon and just kind of learning and growing. through
Okay.
that process, because it would be
Yeah.
people that be like, "Yo, your music is dope," and they said in the third, and it just be like, "Man, I appreciate that because you're somebody I don't really know, but I also think your music is dope. Like we should collab on something, we should do something." They
Yeah.
said in the third, so it was just like coming from that aspect. Coming from that aspect, it was something that kind of caught me off guard because I wasn't used to. I'm used to people who know me or people in my area vibing with the music as far as like the
Got you.
group.
Got
With
you.
just
Okay.
me, I'm not used to that. So it was just like when it
Yeah.
was just me submitting tracks in for I think it was True Fan Love Tuesday when he first started doing it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I
it was
remember
just
that.
like,
Yeah.
man, yeah, it was just like, man, like he was rocking with the songs, and then whoever he would have there was rocking with the songs too sometimes, and then sometimes he'll have critiques,
Yeah.
and it was just like, man, like okay. But even the critiques wouldn't be like super negative. It would just be like, I feel like if you tweak this here, it'll probably take it to a different level,
Right.
and blah blah
Well,
blah.
yeah,
And so it
constructive
was
criticism, right? We're not just
right,
saying
right,
I
right, right.
like it or don't like it, right? Yeah, I think that's definitely helpful for sure. I mean, yeah, to be able to hear it from those around you is totally different, right? It's like your family saying like, "Oh, hey, like yeah, what you're doing is so cool." Part of you will again back to whole the self awareness. Some people really take that and ride that, and it's like, "Oh, no, homie, like they didn't love you enough to tell you that you suck." Okay, so
Right,
I love you enough to tell you, please stop. All right. But at the same
right,
time too though, right, you could also hear the praises, right, of those who are familiar with you, and then just think, well, you're only really saying that because of dot dot dot, right, the proximity
right.
that you have, that you feel like you got to show love or whatever. But yeah, man, I mean, like you coming in, the way that you I can't even remember what song, and it's so funny because now it's kind of making sense by the time I stumbled onto you, especially around Ruslan doing what he's doing and with the reviews and being really constructive criticism and stuff like that. Again, I can't remember the song, but I do remember still going, "Yo, this guy actually sounds different." Because of course everybody's always like, "Oh, I'm different and I'm doing something new for the game." No, you're not. You're really not. I personally don't think you're doing anything different. And every time you say you're doing a different sound, no, you're not. You just playing. Just because you found a different sample pack of some sort doesn't mean you're doing anything different. Okay, like chill the heck out. Like, it's okay, and it's
Oh,
okay. I feel like
thanks.
it's okay,
That's funny.
and I'm saying this for context for others who are like, yo, like, why is he trying to be like this? Are you no, listen? As a DJ, when I'm mixing, obviously I'm going to mix things that make sense, all right? And of course I try to stretch things and try to change things up or whatever, right? So of course there's some of that, but like there's a lot of times where, look, I'm just gonna be 100% honest. There's been plenty of times where I'm mixing whatever, and I'm like, oh, I didn't even know I was on this artist. I just I'm like looking at the BPM, right, and I'm changing BPMs around and stuff, and I'm like,
This
oh,
match is here.
that's it, man. It's literally just as simple as that sometimes. So, but your voice, like Q, who's also in the chat as well. Like you have a distinct sound. I mean, oh, bro, the song that you and Q just dropped recently, like, oh my god, bro, like, okay, even. Can you just really quickly, because we're gonna get into the Oxen Brand Spotlight, right? We're talking about your newest song, but can you tell me the process of you creating? Did you come up with the hook?
So this is
I
where I
want to know
gotta.
about it, bro, because that's, oh my
This is where I
gosh,
gotta. I think this. So shout out to my brother Q. That's
yeah,
my brother and my nemesis. He's definitely one of the best vocalists I've heard, bar none, in a long time. Like
yeah,
the notes he be hitting, the riffs he be doing, I'm just like, bruh.
yeah,
Like you get on my nerves, but I love it at the same time.
yeah,
So I remember, shout out to TLS. I dropped a beat in the group chat, and I was just like, man, I've been sitting on this jump for at least like 2 years, and I was just like, man, I just can't think of a hook for this jump. Or it might have been like a year and a half at the time when I dropped it in there. And then I remember me and Q were actually working on another record that I ended up scrapping all together just because I would have had to redo the whole hook because my hard drive crashed. So I was just like, man, I don't even feel like messing with this song. And so he was just like, hey, man, you owe me one anyway. So let me get this one. So I was just like, all right.
Yeah,
So I let him have it because I was just like, bro, it's the beat fire. I can't. My mind's not computing right now.
yeah,
And he sent back the hook in the verse, his first hook, first verse,
yeah,
and I was just like, yo, this joint is cold. Like, what? This is fire. I was just
yeah.
like, say less. So I did my verse, and then I did the effects on the hook, the little background vocals and stuff like that, and
Mhm.
then I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna let you re-sing the hook on the end because you be hitting them notes. So I'm gonna let you have that. I'm gonna stick with the background vocals and the
Yeah, yeah,
whoa, 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 whoa. So, like, I'm gonna stick to those.
yeah,
You
yeah,
you can do the other ones. And he was just like, nah, you can do it. He's just like it would make more sense if we just switched it. And I was just
mm.
like, all right, I'm gonna try it. So I went in there grudgingly. Um,
You say grudgingly, just in case y'all didn't know.
and I was like, man, all right. So I went in there and did it, and then it kind of grew on me, and I was just like, all right, we can keep it. Yeah, but you still got to do the presses. And so he did the presses on his part, and I was just
Yeah,
like, all right. And then shout out to 48, he mixed that joint, and it came to be what it is.
yeah. Nah, that they said 1995 is too good.
Yeah, he produced it. He
Oh,
produced it,
okay. I was like,
1995.
that's just a year for me, y'all. I have no idea who y'all talking about. Okay.
And shout out to 1995.
Oh, okay. No, that's what's up. Yeah, yeah, bro. Press. I mean,
Yeah,
okay, there's a lot of times where, obviously I'm seeing different artists, IG, reels and stuff promoting their songs or whatever. And, we'll interact, right, for the algorithm's sake, right? We'll
right.
interact, keep moving, whatever. But, bro, especially when y'all were pushing that real hard, like, I even though I have the song, I still just would let it run, bro, because I'm like, man, like this is so dope. And in my mind too, being creative, I'm like, I don't know what I would do with this in terms of DJ or dance or whatever, but I'm like, something has to be used. And like even if it's like for film, for something
Right.
like, especially when somebody is struggling with something or whatever, or pushing through or something. I don't know, man. Like I think it definitely could be used or whatever. So okay, so do you have any songs, or are you trying to do anything specifically? Because a lot of artists definitely know that if you go into sync deals, that's where you really can see a good turnover and not have to worry about touring and stuff as much.
Yeah, that's actually that's gonna be the next step. I'm trying to gather all the information I can towards the for the rest of this year,
Yeah,
so that way top of 2024 I can start shipping out just catalogs to different sync
that's dope.
licensing companies and stuff like that. Because that's really once I found that out, like from like Ruslan, that's when stuff started clicking for me. Because I'm like,
Yeah.
yo, that makes everybody needs music for ads,
Yep.
movies, video games,
Everything.
TV,
Everything.
commercials. Like
Yes.
everything needs a
Yeah.
soundtrack to it. Even just transitional shots in a TV show. Like it's
Yep.
like, bro, anything anything that has that has a soundtrack that has some background music playing in it, it's just like they could use a record. So it's just like trying to tap into sync and get some sync licenses and some sync licensing deals.
Yeah.
That's definitely the move for me moving forward. To like I said, I'm trying to organize everything for the end of this year, so that way I can start uh, pushing catalogs forward.
No, that's dope. That's dope.
2024.
I know. I don't know if you know him or whatever, but I got a really good friend of mine, Beacon, Beacon Light, who now lives in Nashville. He does a lot of work with Tommy Prophet, uh,
Hmm,
doing a bunch of different sing stuff. The what was it? Creed 3. Michael B. Jordan selected his track for a trailer, like he personally selected it and stuff. And dude's doing crazy stuff, man. Like in so many different Netflix
that's
shows and
dope.
stuff. So, but he's a solid dude, man. He's super dope. It like all artists takes forever to reply to different things. The nice part is that like if I'm calling him or whatever, he'll it's like, oh, he don't actually call all the time. What's up? So, um, but depending on who you're connected with or whatever and talking to, he's a really solid person to talk to.
Yeah, I
But
know I know it's a few CHH artists that have
yeah,
like really plugged in. I know Derek Minor,
yep.
Cannon. I know what's his name? Daraj,
Yes, I was gonna
uh
say Jiraj next because he
LinkedIn.
was
Yeah,
one of the earlier ones that was like super pushing
yeah,
for artists to do that. Yeah,
yeah.
no,
I
that's
know he
cool,
locked
man.
in heavy.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's cool, bro. Man, I'll be excited because again, when you do have, especially when you do have a certain sound that makes you stand out. Again, it's just you. I mean, again, as a DJ, I'm listening to stuff all the time or whatever, and so when sonically something really is different, rather it's a person's voice. I'm not a rapper by any stretch of the imagination at all. So like sometimes people are like, oh my god, it's so intricate. And I'm like, listen, musically as a dancer and as a DJ is how I'm listening to a lot of different things, right? And so you could be going crazy and have all these different things and all that until you explain it to me. I'm like your average consumer, right? So if but like but if you're able to have a certain sound where people go, oh,
Right.
I know exactly who that is, and I feel like you're definitely one of those artists, one of those very few artists that
I
really do.
appreciate that.
Yeah, man. No, I'm excited about that, bro. I'm excited to see what the Lord would have for you to do, and then especially because of your heart. I wanted to go back to this because of your heart of wanting to make sure that you take care of your family, your first ministry, first and foremost. So you did talk about how your wife didn't meet you as an artist who was already doing this stuff, but instead saw you grow through that. Now, are you are were you at a point in your relationship where you guys had a good foundation and had a good rhythm so that when you added being an artist that it didn't affect too much? And the reason why I'm saying that is because a lot of times, especially when doing any kind of artist stuff at all, you're doing it really late night of the hours. You're taking your focus is on so many different things because it's not something that you can do within like a 5 minutes for the most part. So talk to me about that. Was that a smooth transition for you? Did you guys have a good foundation to it, or was there a lot of growth that needed to be happening as you were adding that to who you are?
So do we have a no?
he's,
No.
he's no.
So it was new to her. It was new to me. It was
Wow.
new to everything. So the
Yeah, yeah.
interesting part about it, um, 2000 summer of 2012 hit. I got let go from my job at the time, so
Mm.
I was unemployed. It was a situation of last one hired, first one fired. They got a
Oh,
call
okay.
from upper management. And it was like, "Hey, I
Wow.
got to let go of 8 people." I was one of the 8,
Mm.
so I ended up getting clipped that year,
Wow.
uh, right around the summer. So I want to say like May, June-ish. And
Mm.
then that's when the homie was just like, "Hey man, let's do a mixtape for our church." So I'm like, "Shoot, I ain't got no job.
Mm.
let's let's do it." So of
I
course I
got
was
time.
spending way too much time, right?
All right.
And of course, like you said, it takes late nights, it takes early mornings sometimes.
Yeah.
And me not having a job, I'm not thinking nothing of it. I'm like, all right, I'm still looking for jobs and
Right.
still looking for work, but while I got this time, let me just spend it with them. And it's just like,
Yeah.
but dog, you married, you gotta also spend time with her. So a lot of it was ignorance on my part,
Wow.
and also just not setting proper like expectations or boundaries in those type of situations. Be like, all right,
Mm.
well, if we're recording, you know what I mean, then I'm gonna set this specific time, and then I'm gonna make sure I do all my parts, and then I'm gonna dip out. So that
Yeah.
way I'm not leaving you like you're a secondary piece of my life, and now music is
Mm.
everything. So
Yeah.
it definitely wasn't a smooth transition, but it was
Yeah.
a gradual um process of just really learning and growing from each other. And we bumped heads a lot when it came to just because me being ignorant to a lot of different things, I was just like, because we were super young. In 2012, I was 23,
Yeah. Yeah.
and she was, I want to say, 26. But neither one of us had really had like super long lasting relationships before that. And at the time,
Gotcha.
we were already married. So it's just like, we super young, we married, and it's just like we're learning all of this as we're growing, still trying to
Yeah.
learn each other. And at the time, I want to say at the time we had just had our first child together.
Mm.
Um, she had a child previously, so it's just like that was a learning curve.
Well,
And
y'all were trying to figure
just
out everything all at once. That's what it sounds.
bruh, we
It
was we
sounds
was
like you're
trying to
trying
figure we was trying to figure out life. We was
to.
we was
Hey,
trying to figure out life and how that worked.
all these transitions that are always
Bruh,
really hard on people. Yeah, let's just do it all at the same time. We're
bruh.
gonna get it done right
Yeah,
away.
all at the same time. All at the same time. And if we make it, we make it. Hey, it was nobody but God. But like Drago said, if they die, they die. I mean, it is what it is.
It's gonna be God.
But hey, you know what I mean? That's the only explanation. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
but no, it's just it was a lot. It was a lot
yeah,
on her. It was a lot on me. It was a lot on us
yeah.
together. It was a lot. It was a lot.
Man, no, I appreciate you sharing that because it's there. That's a dynamic that I feel like I would like to hear more about because obviously you can talk about music and production and this, that, and the other, and that is a lot of reasons why I don't actually like tune into a lot of different artists' lives and stuff because like that's great, but like when I look in the chat and it's like just a flood of just artists, I'm like, yeah, but y'all are connecting on these things and that's great, but like again, just general consumer here, right? And thinking about how else like I would have never really thought about like, oh, wait a minute, like did everybody meet up as an artist already? Was there what was that transition like, right? Because this
Right.
everybody's got a different story, of course. I mean, gosh, even when my wife and I when we started connecting, that was 2011 is when she and I really first started dating and got to know one another and all that. But by the time she came around, I had already been touring in school assemblies as a
Mm,
performer, as a dancer, and so between that and then breaking events and different things, like I was already a performer, entertainer, whatever. So we've been married for 14 years now and together 20 plus years now. And every year I always check in and say, hey, how are things going? Is everything good? Do you want me to change? Do you want me to pull back on anything? What's the dynamics, right? Because just like you, I want to be 100%. When I'm home, I want to be 100% home, right? I want to be 100% present.
right.
But at the same time, when I'm gone, I'm 100% gone too. So it's like, okay, what dynamics do you need from me? And every time she reminds me, like, well, no, remember, like, I met you while you were doing all this stuff. I knew it was
Right.
going to be who you were. So for your story
Right.
to say, otherwise, where it's like, nah, I didn't know nothing about this, and you were trying to figure this out at the same time. We trying to do everything all at the same time. I
Right.
I appreciate that background, to be able to hear that because of the fact that you had to navigate it. But what I appreciated and I want to make you correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounded like you had people also letting you know like, hey, you're doing this, but don't forget your first ministry as well. Was that right? Did I hear that right?
Yes, it was. I did have. I probably didn't have enough people telling me that, but I did have. I
Oh,
did have
yeah.
some good brothers. Like even the single brothers in the group was just like, hey man, you gotta make sure she good. So it's
Hey,
just like
hats off.
even God always gonna give you a way of escape. He's always gonna put people in your path to point you in the right direction, whether you pay attention to it or not.
Mm,
That's on you. But he's gonna
wow.
always give you those different ram in the bushes moments where it's just like, okay, well, let me go ahead and
Yeah.
do what I need to do instead of staying here an extra 2 hours when I don't have to.
Yeah. Oh, that's good, bro. That's good, man. Shout out to those people who did say something. Again,
Facts.
it's real love when you, even if you see talent and you see something in somebody, it's real love to be like, hey, wait. I can see some other stuff needs to be taken care of, like, because uh, 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 recruiters or anything else or whatever, right? Like they're trying to bring people onto the team to make the team better, and sometimes will negate some of the warning signs, right? The yellow flags, not necessarily a red flag, but the
Right.
yellow flags. And had we addressed the yellow flags, there would have never been a red flag, right? But
Right.
instead, we wait till something happens, and even if, and I don't necessarily know if it's an exact correlation, but Jean Morant, right, with the Grizzlies at the time, it's like, there were some, yellow flags that could have been addressed, and then all of a sudden it turned red, and then now people are like, oh, now we should, say this and do that, and it's like, well, y'all probably saw something. Right. Somebody somewhere should have said something, and that's what most people said too. Like, yo, one of his friends should have been like, hey, you're a freaking NBA star, homie. Like, you probably shouldn't be doing it. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Nah, man. Well, hey, bro, so I really want to get to the Oxen Brand Spotlight portion of the show where we get a chance to hear directly from the artist about their song. And this song specifically just dropped on Friday, called Sometimes, bro. So tell us a little bit about your heart behind the story of making it, the process, and then just what your hopes are for this song to do for people.
Man, so this whole song, Sometimes, shout out to Sometimes, uh, was an experiment for me. Shout out to Still a Kid who produced it. That's my guy. But he sent me this track over, and I just kind of zoned out on it.
Yeah.
It was a moment in time where I think it was maybe like I had just recently, like maybe 2 or 3 weeks prior, just got fired from my job. Been there for like almost 5 years, and then got fired over odd situation that left me feeling very set up in a way that made me feel uncomfortable. And so it was weird. And then when I tried to fight it came back as something else that was put on the information sheet that wasn't told to me. So it was just like, man, it's a lot going on that y'all doing too much right now.
Right.
And so it was just kind of, and then of course being a husband and being a father, it's just like you don't really get time to really bask in those feelings because it's just like I got to get back to work to be able to provide for my family.
Yes, sir.
And
yes.
It's just like, so it's just like, man, this hurts because I've been here for like 5 years and I didn't plan on leaving. It's just yet. Yeah. So it's like, like, all right, like I knew y'all was gunning for me, but I didn't know y'all was gunning. Like, good Lord.
Got that target. Wow.
Right. And it was like, all right, God, I got to figure something else out. And it was just a song that just kind of, I had to remind myself like this race ain't it's not for the swift and not for the strong, but it's for those that endure. And it's just like sometimes we get caught up in the swift and we get caught up in the swiftness and in the strength of our situation and sometimes of ourselves. And it's just like when we start feeling the weakness that's within us, we don't remember that God said his strength is perfected in our weakness.
That's good.
And we don't remember that he's still with us, even in our weakness and even in our depression, even in our feeling of aloneness. And it's just like, man, sometimes you really got to remind yourself that even though my grass don't look as green as the next man's, I'm still right where I need to be. This just might be the off season. That other person's grass might just be turf. That other person's grass might be green paint. But I'm over here with real vegetation. You know what I mean? Like I'm over here, and granted, I got to put in the work to make sure this vegetation grows and is healthy. But it's just like they say comparison is the thief of joy. Like I'm comparing myself to others, devaluing what God is doing in my life. And sometimes you just got to remind yourself, like, hey, I'm where I'm supposed to be, though.
Amen.
I might not be where I want to be or where I see myself being or even where God showed me being. But I'm where I'm supposed to be, though.
Man.
That's so good, that's pretty much what Sometimes is about.
That's so good, bro. All right, well, hey, ladies and gentlemen, again, this is the Oxen Brand Spotlight portion of the show. So we're actually going to go ahead and listen to the track from its entirety together, and especially now knowing a little bit more of the backstory to it. So make sure you guys let them know what you think in the chat. Let's run it.
know you feel it. Hey, I know you grooving.
Hey, that's it right there, ladies and gentlemen. Oh man, again, bro, the fact that you actually have a sound, uh, is so good, and it is it's a chill vibe. I love obviously knowing the backstory, to it as well too. Like that hook hits harder, right? Because you're actually telling us a little bit more. And again, I'm just the normal consumer, and so any normal consumer, if you hear the story behind something, it's kind of like the TV show you think you dance. Like there's a lot of times where, the you know how artists be, man. People are like, oh, this means this and this means that. And I'm like, I ain't getting none of that from what I
None
heard
of
or saw.
it.
But the story you told was pretty dope. So you might want to just tell this story before you perform it every time, because that's what hits different. And the song, I mean, not to compare that at all. That's a bad comparison to your song, because your song sounds good, but it's true though. Like to be able to hear that, and I think, and that's why, when I was playing, I was like, yo, this song's for everybody, because like that hook it is something, especially hearing that story that you so humbly shared with us, is when I'm listening to that song, I can listen to it as if I am singing that song, and that it hits for me too, bro. So I appreciate that, man. Appreciate your heart, man. Thank you for being on again for tonight. Definitely an honor to have you on here, and great to get to know not only about your story too, but just your heart behind things too, because anybody who pops up, especially just the current CHH market and everything else, you can almost kind of just kind of assume like, oh, that's just another person who's trying to get on, and then they're going to be upset because Rapzilla's not doing this and that people aren't doing that. And but it was really good to hear your heart, to be like, nah, that might. And I'm not saying you don't have your own struggles or whatever, but at least I can go, oh no, he really just doing it because he really feels like God's allowing him to do it, and he's doing it. So I appreciate that, bro.
Yes, sir. Like I said, I appreciate the nod, man. I appreciate all the kind words and encouragement too, man. It definitely doesn't go unheard. So
Yeah.
I appreciate that, bro.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. Well, hey, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna bounce, but before we do, outside of the link sync licensing that we were talking about for potential next year, man, what do you got coming up, man? What are you cooking up, either with music or any other plans and anything that God's working you through right now?
So right now, like I said, we already spoke about the single licensing thing, but I gotta take this second because we got another single dropping this Friday. Shout out to Mitch Durrell. Shout out to Mike Wise.
Oh wow,
Uh, us three got a collab single coming out called "He Got It" this Friday.
sheesh.
Um, it's gonna be a tough one, but yeah. Outside of that though, it's got a few more singles to finish up the year with, and then
Yeah.
next year is gonna be um a lot of. Well, I ain't gonna say a lot, but it's gonna be. This year was a lot of singles.
Mm-hmm.
Next year is gonna be a lot of EPs. I'll just say
Okay. Okay.
that.
We keeping it locked. That's what. No matter what, we keeping it
It's
locked.
gonna be a lot. It's gonna be a lot. It may be just me, maybe me and some friends. So you never know.
Yeah. Nah, that's good, bro. That's good. Yeah, man. Hey, keep them coming. Keep them coming. That they're definitely being enjoyed, and it's every so often I kind of think about how everybody has a platform. That
Mhm.
platform looks different, but it's still a platform that only you are able to do, because you're uniquely designed, and your backstory and your thought process, and the stuff that God has poured into you, and the people that are around you, or whatever, the proximity that you have, because it's kind of like church, where people are like, oh man, if I could just get them to come to church with me so that you could hear from my pastor and all that. It's like, well, no,
Right.
you're there with them at work. You supposed to tell
Right.
them, about it, right? And
Right. Even
so,
if you can't give them like ain't nobody asking for a dissertation, but just
right, right,
show them the love of God, man.
right, yeah, and so with the music, like some people are like, oh, once I get to KB's level, then I can do
Right.
this, and if I could just blow up like Holvey or whatever, and it's just like, Or the shows that you're able to do, could you go ahead and steward those really well? Could you pour into the people who
Facts.
are listening to you? Even if you have
Facts.
10 monthly listeners, 5 monthly, like whatever it is that you have, are you stewarding that well? Because who cares if you get this gigantic platform? You've not, and I'm not, artists are not pastors, and so I'm not going to say that, but you've not necessarily shepherded the people that you have, right? Like if you're saying that I'm doing this for ministry's sake and I want to spread the gospel of what I'm doing, right? If you're wanting to do that and you want to be a little bit more explicit in your content in terms of Christian values and scriptures and stuff like that, whatever, then are you stewarding the 1 or 2 people that are already listening to you right now currently? If not, then
Right.
stop asking for more, because all you're going to do is just have more people that hear about you, but you're not pouring into. Now, if you're doing what you were
Facts.
talking about earlier, which is creating more life music, right, where you're talking about the artistry, right, and the life all comes together, ministry and life all comes together. Well, if you're doing more life music, then again, are the people that are listening to you, are they getting life from your music, right? Are they
Right.
getting something from it to where maybe their friend won't go to church, but you giving them a JusRzd track will make them think about something and go, oh, you know what? Hey, let me have this conversation with my friend who just gave me this song and told me to listen to this artist. And then now that person can help disciple or can help, be like, well, hey, this is this is how I always say it. Y'all know my worldview, okay? I come from a biblical worldview, so I'm going to give you my worldview from it. But maybe here's also how you can take it, for your own. And so
Right.
I think you are definitely creating music that people can just do life with others as well as, do life
Right.
through it too. So yeah, man, I'm excited for you, bro. And yeah, just keep them coming, man. Keep them coming. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep being obedient, bro. And man, I'm excited to see, where it's going to go. Again, not necessarily numbers and platform, whatever, just the
Right.
people that are going to get impacted by it for sure, bro.
Nah, I definitely appreciate it. And before we go, I just want to touch on something that you said because
Yeah.
it kind of one of my biggest musical influences is Outkast, and one of the things that they actually did well, in my opinion, they had a way of delivering a message without you realizing they were delivering that message.
Yeah.
Like they had a way of talking to you without you realizing that they were talking to you for real. And so that's one thing I've definitely tried to do with my music
Mm-hmm.
is just let's have a conversation. Let me talk to you without you realizing that I'm talking to you. And I feel like we sleep on the fact that God called us to be sowers and waterers of the gift that He's given us. And it's just like He's gonna give that increase. I may never see that soul that I spoke to 3 days ago
That part.
receive Jesus. But if I don't say what God had laid on my heart to say to that person, there's no telling how their life would be changed in that moment if I don't be obedient in that moment and say what it is God led me to say. So it's
Amen.
just like don't sleep on the fact that He called you to be a sower and a waterer.
Yeah.
That's what we're here for. You may never see the increase in people's lives. However, that doesn't mean that you didn't touch them.
Yeah. Woo. Amen, bro. I think that's a great word to finish on, man. Thank you again, bro. We'll definitely keep it locked in, and it definitely sounds like there's a lot more story that we're gonna have to unpack a little bit more, on another time, bro. But yeah, thank you, man.
Sir.
And yeah, we'll definitely keep tapped in, bro. Hey, if you liked any of this content and you found some value in it, make sure that you like, subscribe, and of course, share it. Also, if you're interested in some more, go ahead and check out these videos. Till next time, grace and peace. Adios.